Operations by Ukraine in the Kursk region are reshaping the regional dynamics. Belarus, Russia's only and absolute ally in Eastern Europe, is at the forefront of this shift. An unexpected offensive launched by Ukrainian forces across the border has put Belarus on high alert. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko ordered the Belarusian military to prepare for war. What was the main reason for Lukashenko giving this order? To find the answer, let's go back to the meeting Alexander Lukashenko held on September 24th during his visit to the Obuz-Lesnovsky Combined Arms Training Area 230. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and give us a like to receive more content and support us. The Belta news agency revealed the details of the meeting. Lukashenko declared that his country must be able to respond to threats from its enemies, which is why it must continue strengthening its military capabilities and modernizing its army. According to Lukashenko, the main reason for these efforts is that his adversaries are preparing for war. In this context, the Belarusian leader emphasized that if you want peace, prepare for war, but he reiterated that Belarus does not want to fight. However, according to his statements, the vigilance of Belarus's rivals has led Lukashenko to prepare his army for war. Lukashenko did not specify who he was referring to as rivals and adversaries of Belarus, but he warned that an attack on his country could trigger a third world war. This is because Belarus is situated at the crossroads of all paths, at the epicenter. Lukashenko pointed out that the army had taken several measures based on observing how events were unfolding on the Ukrainian front and studying the wars that have taken place around the world in recent years. The Belarusian army has reorganized 4 times and is likely approaching a 5th modernization of its armed forces. The head of state recalled instructions to improve training in the army. According to these instructions, the training should not be excessively grueling, but soldiers should be in good physical condition. Physical training exercises, tactical training, firearms training, and learning about modern weaponry should be their priority. Lukashenko mentioned that after the harvest and other agricultural work, they would conduct serious inspections. In this context, he stressed that the entire military sector would be inspected, meaning not only the army, but also the Ministry of the Interior and the State Security Committee would be examined. In addition to modernization efforts and inspections, the meetings held by the Belarusian leader have not gone unnoticed. On September 19th, Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko and the leader of the so-called Donetsk People's Republic, Denis Pushilin, held a meeting. During this meeting, Lukashenko expressed his willingness to develop cooperation with the Russian-occupied region. The Ukrainian Ministry of Foreign Affairs strongly condemned the meeting between Lukashenko and Pushilin, describing it as another example of Belarus's lack of respect for Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. The statement from the ministry read, "This meeting is further confirmation that the stance of the Belarusian authorities on Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity is solely guided by Kremlin directives and has nothing to do with international law or the international obligations of the Republic of Belarus." Along with all of this, Belarus is also conducting drills that are seen as part of the military's war preparations. As recalled, late last month, the Ukrainian Ministry of Foreign Affairs stated that the Belarusian army had concentrated significant forces in the Gomel region, including tanks, artillery, MLRS, and air defense units, near the state border under the pretext of conducting maneuvers. Apparently, mercenaries from the Russian Wagner group were also seen in the area. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs urged Lukashenko not to make tragic mistakes under Moscow's pressure and to withdraw his troops from the border. Lukashenko claimed that Ukrainian attack drones had violated Belarusian airspace and accused Kiev of provocation. The National Security and Defense Council of Ukraine viewed these actions as an attempt to distract the Ukrainian Armed Forces Command from the offensive in the Kursk region. Additionally, last month, Belarusian leader Alexander Lukashenko ordered the Belarusian army to deploy to the Ukrainian border. Minsk claims that Ukraine violated Belarusian airspace with drones. The dictator Alexander Lukashenko announced that Belarusian air forces and air defense systems had been placed on high alert, claiming that the Ukrainian armed forces had violated Belarusian airspace. Lukashenko stated that Belarus's air defense forces were on full combat alert to intercept targets. According to him, planes and helicopters had taken off in recent days. The Bell. Belarusian leader also stated that the MLRS had been placed on high alert. Defense Minister Viktor Krenin announced during a briefing on August 10th that Lukashenko had ordered the reinforcement of troop groups in the tactical directions of Gomel and Mazir. A Defense Ministry press service official announced that Special Operations Forces units, ground forces, missile forces, including Polonaise rocket systems and Iskander complexes, were tasked with marching to designated areas. According to him, the other day, air defense groups detected unidentified aerial objects flying from Ukrainian territory toward the Republic of Belarus. To immediately prevent a possible state border violation in Belarusian airspace, designated forces and means were put on full alert within the specified timeframe. After crossing the state border, the aerial objects were classified as unmanned aerial vehicles, and their destruction was ordered. The sudden alert in Belarus's support for Russia coincided, as mentioned, with the entry of Ukrainian armed forces into the Kursk region. War experts and analysts perceive this Belarusian reaction as an attempt to save Russia in Kursk. What was Ukraine's reaction to this situation? Ukraine sent a note to Belarus demanding the withdrawal of these troops from the borderline. The Ukrainian Ministry of Foreign Affairs severely warned Belarus not to make tragic mistakes for its country under Moscow's pressure and to immediately withdraw its forces from the Ukrainian border. In the event of a state border violation by Belarus, the government would take all necessary measures to exercise its right to self-defense, as guaranteed by the UN Charter, said the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in a statement. All troop concentrations, military installations, and supply routes in Belarus will become legitimate targets for Ukraine's armed forces, according to the statement. The Ukrainian Ministry of Foreign Affairs also warned that maneuvers by Belarusian troops near the Chernobyl nuclear power plant would pose a threat to Ukraine's national security and global safety. These declarations indicated that Ukraine would not stand idly by in the face of any Belarusian maneuvers, and that the Ukrainian armed forces would mobilize against any possible attack. It is impossible for the Belarusian side to ignore this element of risk. Although Alexander Lukashenko has the continued support of Vladimir Putin, a Belarusian attack on Ukraine would mean Lukashenko would have to face the West. Certainly, the escalating tensions between Belarus and Ukraine highlight the complex geopolitical dynamics of the region, especially given Belarus's close alignment with Russia. Belarus's role in the conflict, primarily as a strategic ally of Russia, has evolved from passive support to more direct military posturing, which Ukraine and the West view with great concern. Belarus's strategic importance and role in the conflict. Belarus occupies a crucial position in Eastern Europe, both geographically and militarily. Its proximity to Ukraine, NATO countries like Poland and Lithuania, and its long-standing alliance with Russia make it a key player in regional security dynamics. Russia has used Belarus as a staging ground for its military operations, particularly during the initial stages of its invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. Russian troops and equipment crossed into northern Ukraine from Belarus, aiming to advance toward Kyiv,